Manchester is a relative latecomer to the history books, not appearing until the Roman fort was established there by the River Medlock nearly 2,000 years ago. But before all that, before the Romans, the Manchester area is missing from history, and today I want to go find it. So today I've come out very early in the morning because I want to look at a handful of prehistoric sites around the Greater Manchester area, including this, and this. And I know what you're thinking, but don't worry, it's worse than it looks. Now, the reasons historians get so obsessed with the Romans is because before the Romans, Britain really was Europe's backwater. Across the world, advanced civilizations were rising and falling, while the British were still stuck with semi-simple stone monuments, the most impressive of which is Stonehenge. But on top of that, you've also got this strange scarcity of ancient sites in northern England. Wales and Scotland are blessed by great megaliths, while southern England has its fair share of hill forts, chalk figures, and yes, henges. So why is this part of the island, northern England, so different? Why is it so difficult to find a pre-Roman site up north, which is impressive? Well, actually, there are quite a lot of ancient sites in northern England, and if you really want to find them, please check out the website megalithik.com to browse. And so, to illustrate both points, that there are plenty of sites but that they are not very impressive, I'm going to be travelling around the Manchester area, a city packed with history, to see the very best of them. So first up, I've come to the hills above Bolton to look for something which we don't normally equate with northern England, but is in fact incredibly common up and down the country, and that is a stone circle. Right, so this is Cheetham Close Trig Point, and I believe it's just a little bit further past this, although I've got a feeling I'm going to have trouble finding this one. And I've just been, as I've been wandering around looking, I've just stepped in this massive hole full of water over just on the heather over there, and now I've got a wet foot, so yeah, brilliant. Start of the day as well, first thing, crack of dawn, and I've got a drenched foot. My sock is just drenched, you can feel it. Fantastic. You think I'd never left the house before. Now, stone circles are incredibly common throughout northern Europe, and there's about 1,300 scattered throughout the British Isles alone. Now, they were built as usually as places where rituals could take place, so rudimentary temples, if you like. And like I said, the northwest doesn't have an awful lot of ancient archaeology to scream about, so seeing a local stone circle is something I'm quite looking forward to, if we could just find it. Right, so I've come across this stone. It's quite a prominent stone actually, it's quite impressive. I'm not actually sure if it's part of the circle, I think it might be a boundary stone or something like that. Anyway, we're going to keep looking. Right, so there's actually loads of stones and they are in a circle, and there's a little tiny path going around which shows that people are walking around there. I don't actually think they're the original stones though, and the reason I say that is because they're different sizes, like massively different sizes. They've got very small ones and then these kind of these flat big ones, and there's loads of them. I'm sure I read there was only about 10, and there's a lot more than that, so I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if people are just putting stones down into a circle. Anyway, it's interesting. It's interesting. I'm going to keep looking. Right, so I don't know if you can see the rough outline of the circle starting here. Oops, and then along there to roughly where that big one is. It's a bit tricky, but like you have got a lot of stone. Like this big one, nobody's put that there. Do you know what I mean? Well, nobody recently. If that's been put there, it's been put there with a lot of effort from people who might be putting effort into building a stone circle. But I don't think some idiot going for a walk is just going, oh, put a stone there, because that's massive. But there are quite a few little ones, and they're all some of them are a bit loose. I don't know. I don't know. And this stone circle wasn't doing too badly actually until the middle of the 19th century, when a local farmer came up here and took a sledgehammer to all but 2 of the stones apparently. So yeah, great. I think I'm going to be up against the farmers on this one today. And actually now looking at the view, you can kind of read a little bit more into this story. So that way south, you've got the plain towards Manchester. Now it's a bit grey and cloudy over there, you can't see Manchester. Well, trust me, Manchester's that way. But that's not the interesting thing. The interesting thing is, you've got nearly 3/4 of the view is taken up by the surrounding hills. Now that's quite significant. So you've got Winter Hill over there to the west, southwest kind of, and then Turton Moor to the north, and then hills, and then bang, Holcombe Moor over there to the east, rising above Ramsbottom. You see the tower over there. So in effect what you've got is this large horseshoe of raised land, and then this stone circle right in the centre, which is possibly why it was put here. Maybe not, maybe that's insignificant, but I think it's quite significant, because if you're going to have ceremonies and you're from this local area, it's pretty good to be able to see for miles and miles around. So next up, it's just started raining. I'm going to be trying to find one of the best barrows in the area. Now, if you're not familiar with what a barrow is, it's basically an artificial mound of earth placed on top of a site of burial. Okay, so I'm up amongst the wind turbines of Bury, or technically Rochdale. Look at that, beautiful. So looking for this barrow, and all I know is that somebody built a wall across it, and I think I found the GPS coordinates. So I think it's along this wall somewhere, so let's get hunting. I think I can see it now actually, and it's a grassy lump. Yeah, so there you go, a barrow. What can I say? It is what it is. It is what it is. It's just a lump of earth, and now it's covered by grass, and some unscrupulous farmers put a wall across it as well, so there you go. Okay, so yes, you can see it from this angle a little bit better. From there to about there, where the wall is flat at the top. So it's more of a round barrow rather than a long one, rather than a grave shape. It's a bit more rounded. But yeah, like I say, it is what it is. It's a grassy lump. Tell you what, it's got a cracking view from up here though. Nearly a 180 view of the Manchester Plain and Oldham Rochdale and that. But okay, there you go. On to the next. It makes you wonder, doesn't it, how anybody came across this in the first place and went, oh, that's a barrow, definitely, not just a lump. But yeah, anyway, I think it was excavated in the 70s, I think. But they didn't really find any remains except some fragments of a beaker or something like that, I'm not sure. But yeah, that's as good as it gets up here. I'll tell you what, it's worth coming here just to stand next to a wind turbine. I love a wind turbine. Look at that! So hopefully the next one will be a bit more impressive. This is Castlesteads near Oversley, so still near Barrow. So this was an Iron Age hill fort which took advantage of the natural prominence of land here in the landscape, right next to the River Irwell. In fact, I think back then the River Irwell probably had a different course, so it possibly came even closer to where the fort is. But anyway, it's over there, and that dark lump up there, so let's go have a look. Right, so I made it to the top, and it's just a field, but I'm looking for ramparts more than anything to suggest human meddling in the landscape. Yeah, so clutching at straws a little bit. There is a bit of a rise in the land which kind of follows this, well, the top of the hill, the fence, the hedge. But yeah, clutching at straws a bit. So this is an Iron Age site from about 500 BCE, so after the dawn of the Roman Empire, so during Roman times actually, and yeah, that's about as interesting as it gets, because today it's a field. So another win for the farmers, at 3-0 to the farmers, by the way. So why was this an Iron Age hill fort? Well, because the land, like I said, is very prominent. It's very flat, it's got a long back, it's very shallow grade all the way down to the lowest point. And like I said, the River Irwell would have come very close to this point. It's just over there, over them trees, and then it kind of goes further away. But down here, you've got a motorhome site, a caravan site at the moment. But I think back in the old days, the River Irwell would have gone probably a bit closer to this hill, so maybe through the middle of that campsite. So yeah, come on, there must be something here. Now there's actually quite a lot going on in this little area historically, but unfortunately it's all from the industrial era. Down here behind me, of course, you've got the East Lancs Railway running there. Of course there's no trains running at the moment, and on the other side of the fort, over near the River Irwell, is a feeder canal for the Bolton and Barrow Canal, for the reservoir not further down as well. So, and then you've got remains in this country park here of what looks like a mill. So you've got all this industrial era history going on to visit around here. But this fort, which would have been probably famous for miles around back in the Iron Age, there's just nothing to see, unfortunately. There's not even a placard. There's not even a sign to say it was here, so it's a bit of a shame. But that's what we've come to expect. Right, so I don't know if this comes out on the camera, but I think where the land just kind of drops down a little bit steeply there, I'm going to take that as a ditch, like an intentional ditch at this end of the fort. I might be wrong, I could be wrong, but I'm going to take it anyway. To the hills above Saddleworth to look for another round Barrow, but this one promises to be a little bit more exciting. So I'm just off Huddersfield Road, and down there is the Castlesteads Valley. In fact, I'm within spitting distance of the Roman fort, which is just there, and this is it. This is something called Jackson's Barrow, and in this case it's a donut shaped barrow, yeah, just on top of the hill here. And yeah, you know what, I like it. I'm quite impressed with that. I think I'm also quite impressed with, I grew up around here and I've never been here before, so that's how low-key this site is. So you've got a clear ditch running around there, clear ditch, and then this bank, and then the centre, and what looks like an entrance just here. So yeah, you've got this round kind of donut shape. Yeah, it's quite impressive. There's a couple of bulls just down there in the field looking at me, massive horns. Very interested in what I'm doing. And there's me wearing a red coat. So this site was excavated in the 1970s, and amongst the usual shards of pottery and stuff like that, they did find vitrified remains. So that's remains of stuff that has been turned into glass. So obviously something has been burnt here at some point. Not people though, I hope. So as simple as this site is and as little as it is and stuff like that, I'm going to take it as a win. The first win of the day, I think. And you know what, it's in a farmer's field, or it's at least in a field used by farmers, but it's been undisturbed mostly. So yeah, I'm going to take that one. That's a win, that. Worth the effort. And actually the good thing is about this site is you can actually see this one from space, so you can actually, if I show you a satellite image of it, you can actually see it as it is, unlike the other places I've been so far. Right, so now I've got to Mellor, which is just outside Marple, on the edge of the Peak District. And here is an Iron Age hill settlement, probably one of the best examples in the region. And it was kind of discovered only recently, really, in 1995, when a couple of local historians who lived in this immediate area noticed crop marks in the fields surrounding their home during a pretty bad drought. And here we go. I did not expect to see that. Right, so it looks like somebody's built a little reconstruction roundhouse here, a little hut. Look at that, isn't that good, that? Fantastic. Let's go in. So there you go, coming to you live from an Iron Age hut on the edge of Stockport. Yeah, fantastic. This is a nice surprise. So this entire site is about 7 hectares in size, and enclosed huts. I think they found huts from the 5th or 6th centuries BCE. So the 6th and 5th centuries BCE. So pretty old, predating the Romans. But yeah, let's go have a look. Right, so first of all, when you get in, you cross this metal bridge and there's a ditch down here, which I believe has been uncovered by archaeologists. So that's kind of original, if you like. And they found all sorts of things down there. And then you've got this small area here which you can explore. And you've got that round area marked out there, that semicircle kind of. That is the drainage ditch for one of the large roundhouses which was here. So there would have been a roundhouse around there where the wall is, and that would have been a drainage ditch. And then you've got these 2 other walls marked out here, down there, and the gap in the middle. So they think that there was a couple of palisade walls here, and the gap may have indicated an entrance. This is the eastern entrance of the site. So obviously none of this is original, this is here just to show you. But so the palisade wall would have gone right around the site, all the way back behind that private house over there, all the way behind the church, back to here. So it's a very big site. So yeah, this ditch, there you go, that's quite impressive. And there, that surrounds the site, obviously a very big site, and that was cut by hand in the Bronze Age. They think, archaeologists think, the Bronze Age settlers in this area cut this deep ditch through the rock So that's amazing really. I mean, that must have took a hell of a lot of effort. That must have been hard, cutting through that by hand with tools, Bronze Age tools. But anyway, it was definitely worth it to enclose the entire site, make it secure. And this site has actually been occupied, they think, since the last ice age, or since not far long after the last ice age. So we're talking Stone Age man actually was up here, and there's evidence of that has been found. So yeah, that is this is it. This small area is all you can see. That is private land over there. That is where the majority of the settlement would have been, the hill fort, and then the settlement, and the majority of the findings, the big roundhouses, are in there. That nice pretty garden, but it's private, so you can't go in there unfortunately. And of course there's a church over there, and it's a bit of a shame. It's a bit of a shame that such an important site has been appropriated by later culture, but never mind. It beats staring at a field. I'm glad I came. Now, one of the most important sites in the entire northwest of England is somewhere called Oversley Farm, which is on the northern banks of the River Bolton, which is, oh yeah, underneath the second runway of Manchester Airport. So this was one of the oldest sites in the entire area, dating back to the early Neolithic period, and it contains some huge buildings, one of them 7 meters by 10 meters. At the centre of this building they found a pit or a hearth containing fragments of pottery, charcoal and barley, which suggests that they were cultivating this land around here at the time. So the earliest building they found dates back to around 3975 to 3675 BCE, which predates the Egyptian dynasties, so that's pretty damn old. And it's thought that the site here was occupied all the way up until about 500 BCE, which is incredible. That means this site was occupied for about 3,000 years, over 3,000 years. People were living here, cultivating this land. So a really, really special place. It's just, it's there under the runway, never to be seen again. So anyway, as you can see, the sun is setting. It's been a long day. I've driven in a big circle around Manchester from the hills in the north and the east to here, the plains in the south. And I've got to say, it's not been quite as disappointing as I thought it would be. But you know what? I've got to admit defeat there. When it comes to history versus farmers, farmers have quite literally smashed it. Although, to be fair, I can't blame this one on the farmers. This is an airport. But yes, thanks for watching a selection of prehistoric sites around Manchester. Ah well, something different innit? Beats going through train tunnels or all that abandoned railway stuff. Anyway, ended up at an airport. Remember, there are plenty of prehistoric sites in the rest of the north of England, but that's for another day. Now, I think I'm going to go home and have a tea and a biscuit. Right, so yeah, fantastic. I'm in an Iron Age hut. No, I'm not. Am I? Can't remember. It's Iron Age.